Hello and welcome to Two-Part Tutorial Tuesday. So we're going to do the same cookie today, but we're going to do it in two parts, and I'm going to let you help me make a decision about something. But before we start our tutorial today, I just want to say hello to a few people. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Miss Myra. It's so good to see you guys on here today. Hi, Kathy. I hope you guys had such a great weekend watching Cookie-a-thon. I mean, it was just really a great weekend, wasn't it? Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things really quickly before we jump into our cookie for today, which I hope you like. Hey, Dee Dee, how are you? You guys make sure you say hello. If you have a second, please share the post so we can get some more people on with us this morning. It's weird because we have this time change, and I think everybody's a little off today. Hey, Holly, how are you? So let's talk about this really quickly, just so it's in the beginning of the video. But this weekend, we start our second series of Stackables classes. So we had a Halloween fall series where we did 3 classes that were for sale. And then this weekend, we start our 3-part series, which is Mrs. Claus, Mr. Claus, and our candy nutcracker. So this weekend, there's still time to get in on this class. You could always just take the outlines from the Dots and Bows site and hand cut these to get through class this weekend, and then still have time to order your cutters to prepare these for holidays. But this weekend is Mrs. Claus. The following weekend is Mr. Claus, and aren't they so cute? I love their little eyes this year. I think you guys are going to enjoy these because a lot less risk of cratering with these type of eyes. So I think you'll enjoy that too. And then we take a week off for Thanksgiving, and then December 3rd, we do the candy nutcracker. How fun is that? So that's going to be happening soon. Hey guys. If you didn't catch it last night, we had a special guest. Miss Priscilla Nims was on with us, and we discussed copper cookie cutters, and it was truly so much fun. A great time last night. But today we're going to be doing this project. So I just wanted to show you this picture as part of the video again, because I want you to see, I don't want to say constantly, but quite often I'm asked where I get inspiration for different cookies that I do with you guys on Tuesdays. So I thought I would just show you how this cookie came about. I had some leftover gingerbread because I'd been making another set of Christmas cookies. I'm not sure if we're going to do them as a class yet or not, but anyway, I had leftover gingerbread. So I thought, okay, and we had one more week where we could do fall. So I thought I'm going to use my gingerbread because it's already going to have this dark tone to the cookie. So I like that. That keeps me from having to paint my edges on the cookie. So I was excited about that and getting to use that up. Oh, hey, Whoopi. It was a bust, huh? Hey, Priscilla. Thank you again for last night, Priscilla. It was so much fun. Hi, Nicole. How are you? So I'm so glad to see everybody. So I had this leftover dough. We have one more week to do fall before we jump into our planned Christmas collection. So we'll start off next week. I'm pretty sure next week we start off with the antique toy. It's a 3D antique toy, and it's a unicorn, a pull unicorn. Hey, Saber, you're not that late. We've just been going a minute or two, so you're good to go. Hi, Lorraine. How are you? So anyway, I had to go into the dollar store to check again for something that I needed that they've been out of for several weeks. And they happened to have this little deal hanging up front. Of course, it had a little hanger right here, and it had some raffia right here, just a little decorator thing. I would say this is about 6 inches. Oh, actually it's 7 from tip to tip. On here it's 7. So it's really big. You don't have to make it this big, but I thought, oh, this is fun. So I had that leftover gingerbread. I rolled it out. I put a piece of, I'm trying to remember if I used press and seal or just cling wrap. Either one will work, but I might have used press and seal. And if you do use press and seal, put the sticky side up. And I just pressed an indentation into my leftover cookie dough, and then I hand cut this. I had a nice indentation to follow, so I hand cut my large leaf. And then I thought, oh, this is inspiration too. I really like this. So what we're going to do is you guys are going to tell me white or ivory icing for the background, and we will ice the entire cookie, everything except the stem. We're going to leave that brown, and it's already brown, so we don't have to do anything to it. We're going to do the entire cookie, and then tonight we're going to use some Ceridium Elite Color from the Sugar Art, and we're going to do a hand-painted pattern at the bottom, okay? And before we do that, though, before we get started doing that, I'm going to show you how to use Truly Mad Plastic, the really shiny gold, and we're just going to splatter the cookie a little bit, okay? So I think these would look very nice. Let's see what you guys are saying. We have 2 votes for ivory so far. Anybody? I would like to do ivory if you guys are good with that, because I think it blends better with the whole fall theme. I know. I like to just, well, they haven't had a lot of inspiration lately because their shelves have been pretty empty, but I do like to occasionally go in there and just look around at what's coming in. Okay, everyone is voting ivory, so we're going to go ivory. Thank you for that. I really wanted to do that, but I like for you guys to be involved. So we're going to do the ivory. It'll end up with some gold spackle on it tonight, and then we're going to use the Ceridium and just a flat, straight across brush to do our cross painting and make our design. And the top we're going to leave open so that you guys can put whatever you want up there. I'm going to make mine tonight if the icing is dry enough, because as soon as we ice this, I'm going to pop it in the dehydrator. If it's dry enough, I'm going to kind of follow the theme of this fall lettering, but I'm going to put my last name on here to use it for a display coming in on Thanksgiving. So that's my plan. And I have gloves on, not because I cut my hands, but because me and Turkish Black had a little fight, and I just can't get it all off. And I was rubbing my hands raw. I do too. I think it is a little more elegant, especially these fall colors, right? And then you guys, ooh, okay. It's going to be a super busy week, and I hope that you're going to be, let me just look at something real quick to see if the right thing is here. It might not be, so we might have to postpone. No. Actually, we're going to do something tonight. If you have any of the gold Flex Frost sheets, have a few of those out. I have enough left to do something on here. We've done it before on another project, but I'd like to put it on this cookie tonight. I think it'll just make it a little dressy. All right. And so let's go ahead and do our ivory. Does anybody have any questions? So I'm so all over the place because I've been working on cookies for several different projects for things that I have to have turned in today. So I'd show you my elective cookie for CookieCon in Ohio, but I don't want to show you until I'm sure that Miss Karen and Mr. Mike like it. So as soon as I have that, maybe I'll show you tonight what we're going to do in the electives class, which mine elective class will be on Friday, which is the last day in Ohio. So just to pull this whole train back to the station, this was what I walked in and found at the Dollar Tree, which gave me the inspiration to do this cookie today. And I kept my cookie food safe by covering my dough with press and seal and or cling wrap before I made an impression with this and then pulled it up because it's metal. So it had a nice impression. I pulled the plastic up, had an impression, and then I just hand cut my leaf because I only wanted to make one of these. Now, Allison, if you're watching, it would not hurt my feelings at all if you made me like 5 sizes of this leaf because I love it. It's so pretty. Obviously, I don't need the hole at the top, but if you were going to hang these or make a cookie garland with them for fall in your house, you certainly could do this with a construction gingerbread, really make a large one in the center, maybe with your family name or monogram on it. And then off to the sides, you could do wet on wet techniques and just change up your fall cookie designs, but it certainly would be a beautiful cookie garland if you had time. I know that was more than a hint. That was like swinging it, but I think she's at a dog class this morning. So hopefully she'll watch the replay and then I'll pass this on to her. So maybe you guys can buy some STL files from her. Now I made this icing yesterday. I can tell just by feeling the bag that it got cold in my cookie room last night. So this is a little thinner than what I normally work with. So I am going to go ahead and flip this cookie over because I have a better chance of all the icing staying on the cookie if I work on the back. And I had to rush through this because once I got the idea to make this particular leaf, instead of just using the leaf that I was going to use, a cookie cutter, I had I think it was an Ann Clark maple leaf that I was going to use. I had to hustle and get this in. So it's not baked on a perforated mat. It was just on a regular cookie sheet on some parchment real quick. So it's not normally this dark, but I had to get this baby done so we could get with it today. So I normally like to work with a combined consistency icing, outline, and flood in the same bag of piping icing that's around 18 to 20 seconds. I can tell this one's a little thinner, so we're going to see how far we can go. But I did want to tell you, if you are at all interested in experimenting with dipping cookies, fall leaves to get the base coat on your fall leaves so that you can do you can do some beautiful watercolor painting. There's just so much you can do in the fall. Dipping is very forgiving on leaves. If you get a little too much on there, if you have to leave it on a rack and let it run off, but if you can get it down, dipping cookies makes a huge cookie order go so fast. All right, I'm not going to go quite to the edge because I want that little framing since I did bake on a gingerbread cookie. If you do these on sugar cookie and you just want to fancy them up a little bit, all I would suggest that you do is maybe hit the sides with a little bit of airbrushing. I don't even think it needs to be a lot of airbrushing. Just maybe a little bit of airbrushing to make the colors pop a little. Now, I am going to go ahead and make my outline all the way around the cookie. I'm not getting super concerned about keeping the exact same distance to the edge all the way around this cookie because it's a big cookie and I really do want it to look rustic. In fact, if the icing is dry enough tonight, I'm going to show you how to sand a little bit of the leaf so you have a different texture in a couple of spots, but it's going to entirely depend on if it dries all the way through in the dehydrator today. Now, obviously, you would not be able to cook it like I'm about to cook it just to get the icing to set up to be ready for tonight. Yours would be fine if you let them dry overnight before you start what we're about to do. So for tonight, the color that most closely matches my decor is the Cebidium Elite color from the Sugar Art. And you can use any gold that you like. It doesn't have to be this one. I just really like the sparkle of this one when it's only going to be a tiny highlight on the cookie. And specifically when the cookie is not going to be eaten. Now, a couple tips for this real quick. See if anybody else has joined us. Oh, hold on. Let me see what Sally's question is really quick. It was covered underneath the bubble. Hold on just a second, Sally. Well, if you press down on it from the top down, I got a little bit of that fall impression, but not enough that it held it when it baked. But yes, if you gave it an even more firm push, you could get pretty much most of this outline. But I just wanted to use it for this particular shape of leaf and for the size of the leaf because I want to put my last name on it or a big H at the very least. So you could do it the other way, but to get that impression, if you want to letter that, right, you could focus for that. But my specific intent was that the edges were rolled this way. They were rolled like this. So that's why I pressed this way. Okay. You could do the mirror image wouldn't help you any, but if you had pressed more, it did hold a little bit of the fall. So let's go back to this really quick because it's a big cookie. So you kind of don't want to stop in the middle like I just did. So hopefully I'll be okay. Hey, Cindy, how are you? It's good to see you. So one of the things I'm going to do when it's a big cookie like this, I would normally, if I was doing a whole bunch of these, I'd have two different bags. I'd have my little 2-point opening to do my outline, and then I would have this to do a larger, quicker flood so that I don't have trouble with my flood icing because I want it to marry up as quick as possible. And it is difficult when you're doing a large area on a cookie like this. Also, instead of working all the way around the outside and then working to the center, I tend to work in sections on a big cookie like this so that it has time. It's still soft, not crusting, no risk of crusting when it's meeting up with the sections that you're working on. Now, just keep in mind, if you do a whole bunch of these big cookies, you have to charge more for them. They take a lot more icing. They're going to take a lot more dough. They're going to take a lot more time. So they're very attractive, like feature cookies on a cookie platter set. If you find something like this to work with, that would be really great. But just, you have to factor those things in. You can't, this is a 7-inch cookie. You can't charge the same thing that you would charge for a 3-inch cookie. And in fact, my recommendation to make it have a higher perceived value would be to box this cookie and to personalize this cookie. So that way people tend to have a much easier time. People that don't make cookies, that just purchase them, have a much easier time understanding the cost or the value of something when it's personalized or it was created just for them. Those are times where you can really help your customer out and still make what you need to make on the cookie. Okay, so a little bit of extra packaging for this and personalizing it is going to go a long way towards the dollar value of the cookie if you want to make some of these. And I really like to do cookies like this at the holidays because they're great for place settings. They really, really dress up people's tables for the holidays, and I love that. And people just get a real kick out of seeing their names, especially the kids and the kids especially. But when they sit down and their name is like, they feel so grown up when they sit down and their name is at their place setting, right? It's just impressive to them. Now, if you have any air bubbles, you just want to work with those quickly because it is a large surface. Hey, Debbie, how are you? I'm just going to clean this up because I have one little bubble there. And then I think mine's actually good to go. I'm not sure I even really need to shake it, but I'm going to give it a little shake. I don't want to pick it up though, because it's such a big cookie that it'll cause surface tension. So when I put this in the dehydrator, what I'll do is just slide it straight off my table onto the dehydrator tray. And the reason that's important, not so important on this construction gingerbread dough, because it's very firm until I give it a few minutes for the icing to set in, and then that will re-moisten the cookie a little bit. But on your sugar cookie dough or dough that you have other elements added into as part of the dough, like I don't know what it could be, maybe candies, or you have nuts or something, your dough's already a little weaker because it's not 100% dough touching. You've got little pieces of things in there that are kind of breaking up your structure. So if you did this large of a cookie, it's a 7-inch cookie, it's as big as my hand, right? And you picked it up from the middle on a cookie that you're going to serve, not a construction cookie, but a cookie you're going to serve, it's already going to be soft in the middle. So learning to slide and use your parchment to slide things onto your dehydrator trays is going to be really important. And you also don't want to start moving it because you don't want to get stress lines once it starts to set up, right? And this is just ivory from Hobby Lobby. This is not anything super special here. Now on camera, I see an air bubble, but in person, I don't see the air bubble. So the light is catching it. It's always important to have good lighting in your cookie room too, for just that reason. Like, and I see one over here, but I don't see it. Let's see. I don't see it in person until I turn the cookie a certain way. But since we're going to be personalizing this one, I do want to try to get it just as smooth as possible, but I've already let it crust too long to do a shake, shake, shake. So we're just going to go with that. And this is going to get painted down in that bottom area. Okay. All right. So that is it for this morning. So just a quick recap. Cebidium by the Sugar Art. If you have some of that, have that handy for tonight. We're going to paint with that. A little Everclear would be my recommendation. Whatever gold you want to use, but I will be using the non-toxic highlighter from Truly Mad Plastics if you want to have some of that handy. Also, you'll need a little Everclear and a disposable brush for that. Your cookie does already need to be iced. It can be any size leaf that you want. You're going to be able to do the same thing that I'm going to show you how to do. And then you just need one of the flat squared off brushes. I think this is it's a number 6, but it doesn't have to be a number 6. I just chose a number 6 because I like the size of that brush for creating my stripes, right? Because we're going to go back and use this as our inspiration for this evening. And then if you have a little section, it doesn't need to be a whole sheet, but if you have a little section of the gold Flex Frost sheets, then have that handy too. That'll look beautiful on here tonight. Another color really won't work on this project. You see how nice that gold looks with the ivory, plus we're going to speckle shiny gold on here. So that's going to tie in nicely if you have it. If you don't have it, you don't have to do it, or you could do something different, and I'll show you that tonight as well. All right, now, you guys like can I share? Instead of 60 grams of cornstarch, you added 60 grams of, whoa, did you take pictures? I'm so curious. Did you catch that before you baked? And what happened? Like, did it just like blow up and crack, like big pockets of air, or did it just, I'm so curious, Sally. It's because of Prince. Prince is diluting some of your concentration power because you have to make sure where he is all the time. But he is royalty, so you have to make the adjustments. Hey, Deborah, I'm so glad you like the color. All right, so you guys ask any questions now, so you'll be ready for tonight. Again, any size leaf, any kind of dough. I gave you some tips on how to change your coloring if you want to come into the same coloring for tonight. Also, if you have an airbrush, this would be beautiful before you start painting the green and before you do your gold speckle tonight. So you'll need a stiff brush for that gold speckle. But before those two things, if you have an airbrush, it would be beautiful to highlight in all these crevices around this cookie before you start painting tonight and personalizing tonight. Oh, you caught it before you baked. Okay, well, that's good. At least you didn't waste the oven cycle. It would be fun, though, for a mad scientist experiment to do a 60 pound with the cornstarch. I mean, 60 gram cornstarch, 60 gram baking soda, 60 gram baking powder, and show what the three things do, right? Because one is rise and one is spread, and then one is no spread. So just to have that photograph, maybe you should do that for the blog, or we should do it on Mad Scientist Monday, or you should do it for your blog and come on Mad Scientist Monday, Sally. Maybe we should do that. Would you like to do that? You let me know. And you guys, please make sure you go back and watch last night's video where we talked about copper cookie cutters. A lot of great information in there, especially if you already own some, or if you're interested in owning some, or you want to start collecting them. Priscilla really gave us a lot of really, really good information last night that I think would be handy for any of those things I just mentioned. Okay. Or if you just like to bake with them, like they're great for cutting out cookie dough, like really great for cutting out cookie dough. All right. I'll see you guys later tonight. I hope you have a fabulous afternoon. Thank you for tuning in for Tutorial Tuesday, because I'm totally tongue twisted today. Can we say that again? I hope you enjoyed Cookie-a-thon over the weekend. I wanted to thank everyone again who signed up under my affiliate link. It's going to help us cover a couple months of live streaming bills. So I'm so thankful for that, because you know how much I love doing these tutorials on Tuesday and bringing more people in to enjoy the wonderful world of cookies. So it's really nice. Wait, hold on. You'd really... I'm sure you were very upset, and I'm sure you were making a project, so it made it even magnified. Yes, I hope to see you tonight too, Lorraine. All right, well, let's jump off here. We'll try to get a little work done between now and tonight. I'll see you at 7. I know the time change is like crunching everyone, so that's like our old 8 o'clock. So I will try to keep it shorter tonight, because I know you're going to be kind of tired, but please try to tune in, okay? Sign up for the classes. They start this weekend, and I'll see you guys tonight. Have a wonderful